Hello everyone, good afternoon. Guys, just give me a second. Yes, friends, good afternoon to all of you. Am I audible and visible? Somebody please ping me so that I can begin with today's important and a short session on Bhakti movement and Sufism. Yes, Krishna ji, good afternoon. So guys, by now we have seen many topics of ancient Indian history and medieval Indian history. We are going through 50 important topics which are quite important from the perspective of Prelims 2026. Correct? Like we have seen different topics of ancient India ranging from Buddhism, Jainism, Indus Valley civilization, Vedic civilization. Apart from this, we have seen about the administration of the Mauryas, administration of the Guptas, and Sangam age administration. Apart from this, we have thrown light on vivid aspects of Delhi Sultanate. For example, we have seen about the different dynasties of Delhi Sultanate, ranging from slave dynasty to the other dynasties such as Khilji dynasty, Tughlaq dynasty, Sayyid and Lodi dynasty, followed by administration of Delhi Sultanate, Mughals, administration of Mughals, and Marathas administration. In today's class, we are going to focus on Bhakti movement and Sufism. The class won't be much lengthier. It is just 30 to 35 minutes class maximum. Okay. From day after tomorrow, we are going to start with modern India's important topics. And from day after tomorrow, the class will be very, very important because I'm going to discuss about the most important topics related to modern Indian history, ranging from important governor generals, important charter acts, peasant movements, education commissions, revolt of 1857, activities of Indian National Congress, then Morley Minto reforms 1909, Government of India Act 1919, also referred as Montego-Chelmsford reforms, and Government of India Act 1935. Okay. So guys, without wasting any more time, let's begin our today's short session. Please have a pen and paper along with you because so that you can note down the important points. Today's session is more of a factual kind. Okay. And usually UPSC has a tendency to ask questions in the form of like on one side, the name of the Bhakti saints are given, and on the other side, their works are given. Which among the following are correctly matched? Which among the following are incorrectly matched? So these kind of questions usually crop up in the UPSC examination. Is that clear? So without wasting any more time, let's begin our Bhakti movement. So the Bhakti movement in the North India was majorly inspired from the Bhakti movement in South India. And Bhakti movement majorly corners down two important concepts, Vaishnavism and Shaivism. Vaishnavism basically means worship of Lord Ram, Krishna or Vishnuji. On the other hand, Shaivism basically means worship of Lord Shiva. Precisely, this has been inspired from the southern part of India, that is Nayanars and Alvars. Alvars are devotee of Lord Vishnu and Nayanars are the devotees of Lord Shiva. So please remember these terminologies. Terminologies are very important from the exam perspective. So Nayanars are the devotees of Lord Shiva and Alvars are devotees of Lord Vishnu. Now, the Bhakti saints, they came from diverse backgrounds. Now, what were the important features of these Bhakti saints or the Bhakti movement? First of all, they came from diverse background. Let me give you a very small example. Like Pipa, he was a Rajput prince. Kabir Das ji, he was a weaver. Rai Das ji or Ravi Das ji, he was a cobbler. Apart from this, if we observe, Mirabai ji, she was a princess. So they came from diverse background. Apart from focusing on Bhakti, they also focused on socio-religious reforms. The most important aspect, these Bhakti saints preached the people in the local language. For example, Narsi Mehta, he was a Gujarati Bhakti saint. He preached in local Gujarati language. Then Vidyapati. Vidyapati is also referred as Maithili Kavi Kokil and he preached in Maithili language. Then Ramdas ji, Jnaneshwar ji, Namdev ji, they preached in local Marathi language. Okay, so that they can easily, like these local languages or vernacular languages was easily understood by the people. Now there are two kinds of Bhakti saints. One is Nirguna and the second one is Saguna. Nirguna Bhakti saints, basically it simply means that God is without any forms and attributes. That is Nirguna Bhakti saint. And Saguna Bhakti saints do believe that God has forms and attributes like human beings. Like Ramananda ji, he was a Saguna Bhakti saint. Dhanna, who was a Jat peasant, he was a Saguna Bhakti saint. Narhari, who was a goldsmith, he was a Saguna Bhakti saint. On the other hand, Kabir Das ji and Dadu Dayal ji, both were Nirguna Bhakti saints. So there could be a probable question, which among the following Bhakti saints are Saguna Bhakti saints and Nirguna Bhakti saints? So just remember that specifically Kabir Das ji, he was a Nirguna Bhakti saint. As discussed previously, Kabir ji was born and brought up in a Muslim weaver family. Apart from this, the compilation of Kabir's Doha, okay, they are very important. So just remember, Dohas of Kabir are very famous, and the compilation of the Dohas of Kabir is referred as Bijak. Other important works of Kabir Das ji include Sakhi, Shabad and Ramayani. So these are the important work of Kabir Das ji. Another important Bhakti saint was Dadu Dayal, who was a Nirguna Bhakti saint. Okay, he was born in Ahmedabad, and specifically speaking, like his teachings are again recorded in a book referred as Bani. So very simple words, the compilation of the Dohas of Kabir are referred as Bijak, and the compilations of the teachings of Dadu Dayal ji are referred as Bani. So please remember these two terminology, Bijak and second one is Bani. Other important works of Kabir Das ji include Sakhi, Sabad and Ramayani. Now let's understand about the other Saguna Bhakti saints. Sagun, as discussed previously, Saguna Bhakti saints do believe that God has forms and attributes like human beings. Like we haven't seen Lord Ram ji, we haven't seen Lord Krishna ji, but still we have given them the depiction of a human form. So that is nothing but Saguna Bhakti saint in very simple words. Okay. So there were different Saguna Bhakti saints, and the first among them was Ramananda ji. So just remember, Ramananda ji, he was born in Prayagraj, that is Allahabad, and he was the first Bhakti saint of North India. Okay, he worshipped Lord Ram and he believed in two important principles: perfect love for God and human brotherhood. In very simple words, he believed in something called as piousness of thoughts. Okay, so just remember, Ramananda ji, he was a Saguna Bhakti saint. He was the first Bhakti saint of North India. His disciples include Kabir, who was a Muslim weaver, and he was a Nirguna Bhakti saint. Raidas ji or Ravidas ji, who was a cobbler. I'll tell you one more thing. Raidas ji, although being a cobbler, he was the guru. He was a teacher of whom? He was a teacher of Mirabai, who was a Sisodia princess. So just remember about this. Now let me tell you a short story about Raidas ji or Ravidas ji. In Hindi, there is a saying that Man changa to kathauti mein Ganga. Now there's a legendary story associated with Raidas ji. Raidas ji, he was a cobbler and he used to specifically mend the shoes. So once upon a time, there was a Brahmin who approached him. He was going for taking a dip in the holy river Ganges, and accidentally his slipper broke. So he's a cobbler, and here the cobbler was doing his work. Apart from doing his work, he was also chanting the name of the Lord. So this Brahmin comes to meet Raidas ji, and this Brahmin gives him the specifically his slipper for stitching purpose. Now he starts working on that slipper, and what we say, Raidas ji asked a simple question to the Brahmin: where are you going? He said that I am going to take a dip in the holy river Ganges. So why are you asking, and how do you know about this? And what will you do even if you know about this? So he said, I can do nothing. So when he started leaving, so this person, Ravidas ji or Raidas ji gave him a coin, and he said that once you perform your holy dip in the river Ganges, then you perform your Sandhyopasnam, just offer this small coin to Ganges river. He said, okay, I'll do the same. The Brahmin goes, then he performs his Sandhyopasnam, he takes a dip in the holy river Ganges. When he was coming back, he remembered that yes, Raidas ji had given me a coin. So he offered it to river Ganges. Now the legendary story says that a golden bangle came out of it. The Brahmin was coming back. He thought that Raidas ji or Ravidas ji doesn't know about this. And what will I do with this bangle? Why don't I offer this to king? King will pay me certain gold coins on behalf of this. So he goes to the king. King offered this to the queen, and queen was very happy. Now king gave him 5,000 gold coins. After some time, the queen said, I want the second pair of the bangle. King again called this Brahmin and asked him, what is the second pair of the, bangle. He said that, first of all, he started making excuses, but then king deterred him. I want the second pair of the bangle, otherwise I'll hang you to death. Or if you get me the second pair of the bangle, I'll give you more 5,000 gold coins. Then he narrated the entire story. What is the actual truth? Now the king and this Brahmin now comes to whom? Raidas ji. Now Raidas ji, in a small bowl, he takes the holy Ganges water and prays to God that I want a pair of a bangle, not because I am greedy for it. I just want to save the life of this Brahmin. Hence from here comes a saying, Man changa to kathauti mein Ganga. Whenever a person is performing any kind of a bhakti, his thoughts should be pious. His mind should be pious and pure. Then another important bhakti saint was Sen. He was a barber. Dhanna, he was a Jat peasant. Sadhana, he was a butcher. Although being a butcher, he continuously used to chant the name of Lord Hari, that is Lord Vishnu. Then apart from this, there comes another Narhari. Narhari, he was a goldsmith. And apart from this, Pipa, he was a Rajput prince. Then Mirabai. Everyone knows about Mirabai. Okay. Mirabai, she was born at a place called as Kurki in Rajasthan, in a Sisodia family. And she was married to Bhojraj. It was against her wishes. And like specifically it is said that her husband passed away approximately 2 to 3 years after the marriage. And she was just interested in bhakti of Lord Krishna. And she hardly paid attention to any of the works at her in-laws' house. And she was just involved in bhakti. After the death of her husband, she said that she is not going to live the life of a widow, or she is not going to perform any kind of activity such as sati, because she was completely entrenched in the bhakti of Lord Krishna. Like there are many legendary stories related to Mirabai ji, that she was being offered snake, like specifically in a basket, a snake was being offered to her, which got converted into a garland. Another story says that she was being offered a poison, which got converted into a nectar. So there are different stories associated with Mirabai. And Mirabai finally leaves her palace and moves to Vrindavan and Dwarka. Precisely that was the story of Mirabai. Specifically speaking, majority of the verses composed by Mirabai are in local Braj Bhasha. If you visit Mathura and Vrindavan, you will observe the language spoken in that region is Braj. Hence, majority of her verses is in Braj Bhasha. The verses associated with Mirabai are Padavali. And another important work associated with Mirabai, it is a song. You can say that it is a kirtan or a bhajan. And that is referred as Payo ji maine naam ratan dhan payo. So just remember that. So just remember the most important one, Padavali. Is that clear? One more important fact. There was a Bhakti saint precisely from the region of Bihar, whose name was Vidyapati. And Vidyapati is oftenly referred as Maithili Kavi Kokil. I repeat, he is referred as Maithili Kavi Kokil. Why? Because he preached in Maithili language. So just remember this, Maithili Kavi Kokil. Another additional information I'll provide you, that specifically there was a Gujarati Bhakti saint whose name was Narsingh Mehta. Okay. If a question crops up in the examination, the term Harijan was coined by whom? 90% of the students will mark this answer as M.K. Gandhi, because M.K. Gandhi from Yerawada jail in Pune had started Harijan campaign. Okay. The term Harijan was being coined by Gujarati Bhakti saint Narsingh Mehta. Now, what is the meaning of the word Harijan? It simply means, Hari means Lord, Jan means people. People who are discarded by the society is accepted by the Lord. That is the actual meaning of the word Harijan. And it was coined by a Gujarati Bhakti saint referred as Narsingh Mehta. So it was not coined by M.K. Gandhi. Is that clear? Then, there's another important Bhakti saint whose name was Tulsi Das ji. And everyone knows about Tulsi Das ji. Correct? Like Tulsi Das ji, he was a great poet and a devotee of Lord Ram. He had composed Ramcharitmanas in Awadhi language. Now, Ramcharitmanas, it is divided into 7 parts. Correct? Like the first part is referred as Balkand. Then comes specifically Ayodhya Kand. Then comes Aranya Kand, Kishkinda Kand, Sundar Kand. Then comes Lanka Kand. Okay. And finally comes Uttar Kand. So these are the 7 parts of Ramcharitmanas. And Ramcharitmanas was composed by Tulsi Das ji. And there's a very different story associated with Tulsidas ji. I have taken the entire session, or like I have completed the entire series of medieval Indian history as a part of YouTube. So you can visit that series. Like therein, I have explained all the Bhakti saints and the Sufi movements in quite depth and detail. Here, I'm just focusing on the factual perspective, because these are the important things from the exam perspective. Is that clear? So just remember, Tulsidas ji, he was a medieval India Bhakti saint. He was a staunch devotee of Lord Ram ji. Okay. His important works include Ramcharitmanas. Another important works include Vinay Patrika, Kavitavali, Geetavali, Parvati Mangal, and this is Sakhi Mangal. Just remember this, Sakhi Mangal. So these are the important compositions of Tulsidas ji. So please do remember them. Usually questions crop up in the examination. Okay. Moving ahead. The next one. Just a second. Surdas ji. Surdas ji was disciple of Vallabhacharya ji. He was devotee of Lord Krishna and Radha. And again, his verses are composed majorly in Braj Bhasha, which is famous around the region of Mathura and Vrindavan. Okay. His important works include Sursagar, Sahitya Ratna and Suravali. Is that clear? Yesterday itself, we have seen about the literature during the period of the Mughals. So specifically, Surdas ji had composed Sursagar during the time of Mughals. So just remember, Sahitya Ratna, Sursagar and Suravali are the important compositions of whom? Surdas ji. Moving ahead. Namdev ji. Namdev ji, he was a Bhakti saint precisely from the region of Maharashtra. And his compilation of Kirtans and Bhajan was referred as Abhangas. Then comes Jnaneshwar ji. Jnaneshwar ji had written, and all these compositions are in local Marathi language. So Jnaneshwar ji had written Jnaneshwari, which is also referred as Bhavarth Dipika. Then he has written Amrut Anubhav, Changdev Pashast and Haripat. These are the important works of Jnaneshwar ji, who was a Bhakti saint from the region of Maharashtra. Then comes Ramdas ji. Like Ramdas ji, like it is said that Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj ji, his political guru we can call specifically as Dadaji Kondev, and his spiritual guru was Ramdas ji. So Ramdas ji, his book Das Bodh is very famous, and time and again there have been questions specifically on Das Bodh. Das Bodh was compilation of, so it was compilation of a Marathi Bhakti saint whose name was Ramdas ji. Okay. Then Manache Shlok and Manapanchak. These are the important works of Ramdas ji. So precisely speaking, from the perspective of the Bhakti movement, you have to remember important Bhakti saints and their works or their associated works. And UPSC usually has a tendency to ask factual questions in the form of match the following. Which among the following are correctly matched? Which among the following are incorrectly matched? Hope so the point is clear to all of you. Please answer in the comment section. Now pay attention, because Sufism again is another important topic. Now here we are going to focus on few important terminologies, and these terminologies are very, very important from the exam perspective. First terminology is Peer. Then comes Murid. Please, if it is possible for you guys, please write it along with me, because directly there could be a question on these terminologies. Directly. Peer, Murid, Bashara, Beshara, Suf, Tasawwuf. Peer, Murid, Bashara, Beshara. Okay. Suf, Tasawwuf. Sama, silsilah, dargah, ziyarat. Okay. Yes, Sai Kalyan ji, very good. Now, different terminologies have a different connotation. Okay, now pay attention carefully. There are 5 important fundamental principles of Islam. The first fundamental principle of Islam says, La ilaha illallah and Muhammadur Rasul. Allah is one and Prophet Muhammad, Hazrat Sahab, is his messenger. The first principle. Second important principle in Islam is offering prayers to Allah. That is nothing but namaz. One should offer prayers to Allah at least 5 times in a day. And there are different kinds of prayer, different kinds of namaz, such as Zuhar ki namaz, Duhar ki namaz, Fajr ki namaz, Isha ki namaz, and Maghrib ki namaz. So all these are the different kinds of prayers, specifically also referred as namaz. Then there is another important third principle in Islam that is referred as roza. During the holy month of Ramzan, one should observe rigorous fasting, and that is referred as roza. Another important principle is zakat. Now, what is zakat? Zakat, it is a kind of a tax that is collected from rich Muslims. Like whatever you are earning, you should donate at least 2.5% of your earning as a charity. And that would be utilized for the basically for the underprivileged section of the society. And that is nothing but zakat. Okay? And finally comes Hajj. Now, the meaning of the word Hajj here is what? Precisely speaking, moving from Makkah to Medina. At least once in a lifetime, person should go for a Hajj. Like in Hinduism, we have a practice that at least once in a lifetime, a person should go for Char Dham Yatra, including the 12 Jyotirlings. Similarly, in Islam, there is a concept that at least once in a lifetime, a person should go to Hajj. That is from Makkah to Medina. And the person who has visited Hajj and who has completed his Hajj pilgrimage is referred as Mustati. So please remember this terminology. So during medieval period, there were certain Sufi saints who had a very simplistic belief. Now the word Sufism has been derived from the word Suf, and Suf basically means wool. Now during the winter seasons, these saints, they used to go from one place to the other place, and they used to preach about the simplicity of religion. They believed only in one concept. It is not necessary to offer namaz to Allah 5 times in a day. It is not necessary to observe roza. But the most important aspect, service to humanity is service to God. As simple as that. And they believed in simplicity of life. So precisely speaking, these Sufi saints, they were known by the clothes they wear. And the clothes they wore were woolen clothes. So the clothes were their identity. And tasawwuf is the word for identity. As discussed right now itself, the word Sufism has been derived from the word Suf. So Suf basically means what? Suf means wool. Correct? Now there were 2 kinds of Sufi saints, Bashara and Beshara. Bashara were those Sufi saints who were bound by the Islamic laws. They had to follow all the principles that are mentioned in Shariat. On the other hand, Beshara were those Sufi saints who are not at all bound by the Islamic laws. Is that clear? Please pay attention to the terminologies. So who is going to talk about the simplicity of the religion? In fact, Sufi saints believe that the relationship between God and human is not like the master and the slave. The relationship between the God and the humans is like 2 lovers. God is Mashuk and we are his Ashik. That was the belief of the different Sufi saints. So precisely, who is going to talk about the simplicity of the religion? Who is going to teach the people? Who is going to show the right direction? Obviously, a teacher. So Pir was a teacher, and Murid, who is going to follow his teacher, was disciple. Is that clear? I'll repeat the points again within short. Pay attention carefully. The word Sufism has been derived from the word Suf, which basically means wool. Okay. Then comes, there were 2 kinds of Sufi saints, Bashara and Beshara. Bashara were those who were bound by the Islamic laws, and Beshara those who were not bound by the Islamic laws. Then Sufi saints usually believed in simplicity of religion, and they believed that the relationship between the God and the humans is not like the master and the slave. It is like the 2 lovers. Okay. So the teacher was referred as Pir and the disciple was referred as Murid. Like in Hinduism, we have bhajans and kirtans. Apart from the mantras that we chant, apart from the hymns that we chant to praise the God. In Islam, there is something called as what we say Sufi songs. And the musical congregation was referred as Sama. So what is Sama? Sama is nothing but musical congregation. If you remember, in yesterday's session, we had seen about Alamgir, Aurangzeb. Like Aurangzeb had completely banned the Sama, that is musical congregation. And he himself was fond of playing a musical instrument referred as Veena. Okay. Then silsilah. Silsilah is nothing but different orders of Sufi saints. Like there was Chishti silsilah, Suharwardi silsilah, Qadri silsilah, and so on. Okay. Now, after the death of the Sufi saint, it is the responsibility of the disciple to construct a tomb of that Sufi saint. And the tomb of the Sufi saint is referred as Dargah. Okay. And it is another responsibility of the disciple to visit the Dargah or visit the tomb of his Guru, okay, or his Peer at least once in a year. The process of visiting the tomb of a Guru is referred as Ziyarat. So these are the important terminologies. I'll repeat the points again. Peer means teacher, Murid means disciple, Bashara means the Sufi saints who are bound by the Islamic laws, Beshara who are not at all bound by the Islamic laws. The word Sufism has been derived from the word Suf, which basically means wool. Then comes Sama. Sama is nothing but musical congregation. Then Silsila, the Sufi saints of different orders. Dargah, tomb of a particular Sufi saint. And then comes Ziyarat. Okay. Yes, Renu. Good afternoon. So these are the important terminologies that you guys need to remember about the Sufism. Is that clear? Now these are the different silsilas. That is Chishti silsila, Suharwardi silsila, Naqshbandi silsila, Shatri silsila, and Qadri silsila. Okay. Now, what were the major difference between Chishti silsila and Suharwardi silsila? Let's understand about them in short. The Chishti silsila, it was being established by Sheikh Muinuddin Chishti. Now, Sheikh Muinuddin Chishti ji, he had come to India during the time of Muhammad Ghori. The first Islamic invader of India was Muhammad bin Qasim. And this finds mention in a book called as Fateh-Nama Sindh or Chachnama. He was being followed by whom? Mahmud of Ghazni. And the only intention of Mahmud of Ghazni was to plunder India. He never ever had the intention to make India as its home. Then comes Muhammad Ghori. His intention was to make India as its home, plus he wanted to plunder India. And during the time of Muhammad Ghori, Sheikh Muinuddin Chishti, he came to India and settled in the region of Ajmer. Ajmer, it is located in Rajasthan. The tomb of Sheikh Muinuddin Chishti ji is also located in Rajasthan. Okay, Ajmer precisely. Now, Chishtis, they believed in simplicity of life, humility and selfless devotion to God. As discussed previously, the relation between the God and human is not like the master and the slave. It is like the two lovers. Okay, so love between the God and individual and adopting an attitude of benevolence towards all. Simple words, service to humanity, service to the people is service to the God. This was a simple belief of whom? The Sufi saints of Chishti Silsila. Another important saint of Chishti Silsila was Baba Fariduddin Ganj-e-Shakar. Just remember the name Ganj-e-Shakar. Okay. Baba Fariduddin Ganj-e-Shakar, he had settled in the region of Hansi, Haryana. So just remember, Sheikh Muinuddin Chishti ji, he settled in the region of Ajmer, Rajasthan. Another important Sufi saint of Chishti Silsila was Baba Fariduddin Ganj-e-Shakar, who settled in the region of Hansi, Haryana. Another important Sufi saint was Nizamuddin Auliya ji. And Nizamuddin Auliya ji is oftenly referred as Mehboob-e-Illahi. That is beloved of Allah. Nizamuddin Auliya ji, his dargah is located in Delhi. And if you visit the dargah of Nizamuddin Auliya ji, in the same complex you can also observe the tomb of Amir Khusro, one of the famous historians in the court of Alauddin Khilji. In fact, Amir Khusro was given the title of Tuti-e-Hind or Parrot of India by Alauddin Khilji. And Amir Khusro had given the title of Sikandar-e-Azam to Alauddin Khilji. Okay, so precisely speaking, Nizamuddin Auliya ji's his tomb is located in Delhi. He was referred as Mehboob-e-Illahi. He had seen the reign of 7 Sultan. It is also said that this person, Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, who was the founder of Tughlaq dynasty, whose original name was Ghazi Malik, he had conflicting relations with Nizamuddin Auliaji. Okay, like it is believed that this person, he was constructing a fort which is referred as Tughlaqabad Fort, and Nizamuddin Auliaji had cursed this fort, and he had also cursed Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. Hence, if you Google it, you will come to know that this fort, that is the fort of Tughlaqabad Fort, it is the cursed fort. Okay. Apart from this, what we say, Nizamuddin Auliya, there were other Sufi saints, specifically Sheikh Hamid Uddin Nagori. Okay. Now, precisely speaking, Sufi saints, they believed in something called as simplicity. Is that clear? So, just remember three important Sufi saints. Sheikh Muinuddin Chishti ji, who settled himself in the region of Ajmer, Rajasthan. Second one was Baba Fariduddin Ganj-e-Shakar, or specifically settled in the region of Hansi, Haryana. Okay. And then finally comes whom? Sheikh Nizamuddin Auliaji. He is oftenly referred as Mehboob-e-Illahi, that is beloved of Allah. Is that clear? Suharwardi silsilah. Now this silsilah, it was founded precisely by Sheikh Shahabuddin Suharwardi in Baghdad, that is Iraq. And specifically it was promoted by Bahauddin Zakaria in India. Just remember this. So it was promoted by Bahauddin Zakaria in India. Unlike specifically Chishti silsila, the Sufi saints of Suharwardi, they had a very different belief. They did not believe in living the life of a poverty. Like Chishti silsila saints believe that politics and religion both are two different entities. Let me give you a very simple example. Once upon a time, Alauddin Khilji wanted to meet the Sufi saint Nizamuddin Auliya. And so he passed on the message to Amir Khusro, who was one of his court historian and disciple of Nizamuddin Auliya ji. So Amir Khusro goes and informed specifically Nizamuddin Auliya ji. So Nizamuddin Auliya ji said that if any person who wants to meet me, he has to come to my khanka. Khanka means hospice. Again, a very important terminology. I repeat, khanka means hospice. So he has to come here. And secondly, if Alauddin Khilji enters my khanka, I will exit from the next door. Okay. So specifically, Chishti silsila Sufi saints believe that politics and religion are two different aspects. Okay. And everyone, rather it be the sultan or a common man, everyone is same in the eye of a saint. Okay. Because Chishti silsila believe that a Sufi saint is like a fakir. He is also referred as darwish. He is also referred as wali. On the other hand, Suharwardi silsila saints, they believed in something like they intermingled with the noble families. Okay. Like Bahauddin Zakaria and so on. They believed that the Sufi saints should possess money as well. In fact, Bahauddin Zakaria was considered as the richest Sufi saint at that time. Richest Sufi saint. Like it is said that after Bahauddin Zakaria, Suharwardi silsila was divided into two branches. One was Multan branch, other was Uch branch in Sindh. The Multan branch was headed by his son Badruddin Arif. And Jalaluddin Bukhari was the head of Uch branch, specifically which is located in the region of Sindh. Is that clear? So the most important aspect I'll tell you. Suharwardi saints, they did not believe in simplicity of life. In fact, Badruddin Arif, he had inherited 7 lakh tankas from his father Bahauddin Zakaria. Is that clear? So that was a major difference between the Chishti silsila and Suharwardi silsila Sufi saints. Okay. From the perspective of medieval Indian history, I'll suggest you one more thing, my friends. Also have a look precisely at Vijayanagar and Bahamani kingdoms. Is that clear? From day after tomorrow onwards, we are going to start with certain important topics of modern Indian history. Okay. My friends, StudyIQ IAS. The batch is going to start on 27th of April 2026. And the admissions for the batches are open right now. It's a UPSC GS Foundation P2I 2027 batch. The batches are available in English, that is Hindi plus English. Then there's a complete separate batch in Hindi medium. And the most important one, there's a complete separate batch in English medium that will suffice to the needs of the students precisely from southern part of India and northeastern India. All the subjects would be taught to you completely in English language. Apart from this, there would be a mentor who would be guiding you throughout your journey for civil services preparation. Okay. So the prices for the batches are starting at 13,999 and use the code ALOKLIVE to get the benefits of these batches. I repeat the code ALOKLIVE. Hope so the points are clear to all of you. So my friends, with this, I'll stop my words for the day. Okay. and see you guys day after tomorrow with the certain important topics of modern Indian history. Till then, thank you. Have a nice day. Bye bye, everyone. Jai Hind.